Hey guys, it's Sam here and welcome back to this week's review where we review the weekend's games. And there is no place other to start than unfortunate that Liverpool's 100% record is gone. We lost on Saturday away to Palace 2-1 and it was an abysmal game. It was... We deserved nothing from it. It's as simple as that. We got what we deserved, and hopefully, now that they know their luck has ended, it will give them a kick up the backside, because it's what they needed. Because I don't think, or at least I can't think, of a single game so far this season that we've actually played well in. We've not started this season well in performances. We've been very, very lucky with last minute winners, and we didn't even play well against Southampton in the Cup. You know, a championship team which should be, for us, a piece of piss, was made very, very difficult by the fact that, okay, yes, there were a lot of changes, but still, I mean, it's not difficult to pass to a red shirt. You're wearing red, they were wearing yellow, yet half of the team needed eye tests or to check if they were colourblind, because they couldn't seem to play to a red shirt. Every ball was going to a yellow. So that's got nothing to do with the fact that you don't play with each other on a weekly basis. That's just standard. You can see a red shirt, you pass to a red shirt. If you don't see a red shirt, you don't pass the ball. This is what you learn when you're a child. And they couldn't even do that properly. And we managed to avoid embarrassment by scoring a late goal. But it didn't happen against Palace, because there was absolutely no way it was. That was never going to end a draw. The minute Chiesa scored, I wasn't confident, because we hadn't played well for 87 minutes before the goal went in. So why are we going to play well after the goal goes in? It's not going to happen. That game was just completely... it was only going to end in one way, and that was a defeat. So I'm not going to go too overboard with it and think that that is it. Don't like start shitting on a bunch of players, because it's one defeat. We have won. We've played, what, 7 games now? No. How many? I think that was our 6th league game, wasn't it? Yeah. We've played the League Cup and the Champions League. So that is 8. If you want to count the Community Shield, 9. But not really. So 8 games so far this season. We've won 7 and lost 1. Pretty sure at the start of the season we'd have been actually alright with that. It's just frustrating that it has come in such a way in which they didn't turn up. But hopefully tonight they will turn up, because if they don't, Galatasaray will steamroll us. They're not a bad team at all, Galatasaray. They are very, very strong. And they're going to be strong at home. It's not going to be an easy game. So they're going to have to turn up tonight. Let's wait and see. Moving backwards to the early kickoff on Saturday. Man United lost again to Brentford 3-1. It's all alright, you know. It could be a hell of a lot worse for us Liverpool fans. We could be Man United fans. Thank fuck we're not. Yeah, it just looks like it's going from bad to worse for Ruben Amorim. Nothing's changing. Tactics are still awful. The players are still awful. Nothing's happening. And a lot of managers are being linked with the United job. And when managers are usually heavily linked with jobs, and there's a lot of them, it does usually mean that the writing is on the wall, and I think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when Amorim gets sacked, because it can't continue. It can't continue for much longer. There is no project here with Amorim. The only project could be Championship. He is that bad, it could be Championship. Like, that is not even a joke. I'm not even taking the piss. I'm pretty sure a lot of United fans would agree with that as well. They're only going backwards. They're not going forwards. They're out of the cup to a League 2 team. They've got no European football. And the only competition that they can really fight for is still months away, which is the FA Cup. And you don't even see them progressing in that very far, even if they get a lower league team, because they've already been knocked out by one. So there is only one way this can end, and it's with him leaving and they go through the whole process again. But again, a lot of managers have come into that job now and have failed. So you do have to wonder, how many times can you solely blame the manager and not the core of the team? What needs to happen now is a manager needs to go in there and not straight away believe that he can get them a top 4 or fight for a title, because they're nowhere near that. That core, the spirit of United is gone. So they have to build slowly and get that spirit back. You've got to get a manager in that's going to, first of all, lift the players and get them positive results. Then, once you've done that, you can push, say, let's finish the season in the top half. Let's at least get to the top half. Let's get 10th, 9th. Build on that. Next season, you start pushing further. Optimism would be a Europa League finish, but anything below that, making sure you're still within the 10th to 7th bracket. Even then, 7th could get you it would, I believe, get you a Conference League position at least. So you've got that to aim for. That's what has to happen now with United. They can't go straight from finishing... What did they finish? Like 15th, 14th, 13th, something like that last season, to finishing top 4. The fact that any United fan put them in the top 4 was above anything that was ever going to be achieved. It was an impossible task. They were never going to get top 4. You can't finish that low and then get top 4 when your spirit is completely shattered. Like, it's not going to happen. So they need to realise where they are, and that in turn means the legends of the club as well. Lads like Gary Neville and Roy Keane and all that, they need to realise where they are and stop putting so much pressure on the players to finish way higher than realistically their potential is. Their potential is a 10th place finish, because they are not good enough for any higher than that. If they did get higher than that, it would be almost a miracle. And if their potential was better than what they currently are, they would be there. But they're not. So, yeah, it's not looking good. And to be fair to Brentford, it's looking like that first game of the season was unfortunate, let's say, because since then, Keith Andrews really has galvanised the team and given them a nice boost in the right direction. 13th place, 7 points after 6 games. It ain't too shabby. So things are going alright there. Another team that could be in trouble or at least another manager that could be in trouble, should I say. Chelsea, they lost 3-1 at home to Brighton. And yeah, Chelsea receiving yet another red card after receiving a red card against United. Trevor Chalobah was sent off in that game when Chelsea were 1-0 up. And then after that, Brighton ended up steamrolling to victory. And you've just got to... Yeah, the game on Saturday is going to be a big one, because you would expect us to win because of our form and their form, but of course big games, they always give their best in the big games. So again, we're going to have to be at it. But yeah, it's looking bleak for Maresca, and quite a few Chelsea fans want him gone. So who knows if they will stick, or if they feel like his time has come. So there's only one way to find out, and you know, I don't expect there to be any changes at Chelsea before Saturday, so he will still be in charge there. But that game could have, you know, significant say in if he stays or goes. I don't think so. I think there's still a little bit more time there in for him, but who knows? We don't know in football. Anything can happen, and yeah, it's not looking great for Chelsea or Maresca at the minute. Moving on, Leeds and Bournemouth played out a 2-2 draw. It's a very interesting one, because Bournemouth are 6th and Leeds are 12th. Leeds have not started like the promoted teams. The only team that's struggling at the minute is Burnley. Leeds are 12th and Sunderland are 5th. Like, it's crazy. These newly promoted teams are doing very, very well. So hats off to them. Like, they have started very, very well and giving them a good chance of already staying up. Like, the earlier you start picking up points, you know, they will come in handy later in the season, when I'm sure these teams will have blips. Those points could be massive that they've picked up already. So a big hats off to them. City beating Burnley 5-1 as expected. Not much to say really there. Difficult for Ange Postecoglou though. His first home game finally as Forest manager ended in a 1-0 defeat to Sunderland. However, they were very, very unfortunate in that game. The referee had a stinker. He really, really did. The goal came from a free kick that I have never seen in my life. The Forest player literally wins the ball, clears it, gets taken out, and then it's a yellow card for him and a free kick to Sunderland, which they evidently scored from. I've never seen that in my life. I don't know how that's possible, but somehow it is, and it, in the end, has fucked them. But that was not the only decision. The referee had an absolute horror. Yeah, that was an awful refereeing performance. But again, it is also the finishing that has let Forest down. And there's nothing that Ange can do about that. Yes, he can practice finishing in training, but ultimately, in a game, tactics are not what scores the goals. If your players are missing the target from a few yards out and missing golden opportunities, that's not on a manager, that's on the players. There's no tactic in the world that's going to make that better. Like, you've got to put the ball in the net, and the manager can't do that, and no tactic's going to do that. Of course there's a tactic that's going to be attacking, that's going to bring in more opportunities to score, which Ange has done. He plays attacking football, they're creating a lot of chances, they're just not taking them, and at the minute they're playing very, very well. Like, it's not like they're deserving these defeats. It's not like they're not playing well. They are. They're playing very, very well. They're just not taking their chances, and they're not winning games. And if they are in front, they're not seeing games out, and they need to start picking up points, because although it's early in the season, they are in trouble. They are, I believe, 16th, I think. No, they're 17th, sorry. Only a point above Burnley and West Ham in 18th and 19th. So they need to start winning games, and they need to start doing it very, very quickly. And it's not getting any easier, because at the weekend they are, I believe, away to Newcastle. So it's not getting any easier, and that home game against Sunderland was a good chance to get your first win in your first home game. Unfortunately, obviously, decisions and everything like that didn't go their way, so of course it's always going to be tricky, but he needs to start winning games, and he needs to start doing that fast. And if he can get that in, let me check, yeah, so they're at home to Midtjylland on Thursday. That should be a win. That should be his first win as Forest manager. He has to win that game and go into the weekend with at least a win. It can't be a draw, and it can't be a loss. The draw against Betis was very good, because although they led for large parts of the game, Real Betis are a very, very difficult team, so it's going to be very tricky. They're coming out, they're at home. Second half, it was always going to be hard for Forest if they couldn't find that third. They couldn't. Ultimately, right at the end, Anthony scores, but you know, you see a lot of Forest fans, they were very, very happy with a draw. They would happily take that at the start, so they took it because they were happy with the way the team played as well. Anyway, moving on to Tottenham and Wolves, a 1-1 draw. It looked like Wolves could get it, their first win, but they didn't. But they do have their first point now. Palhinha scoring a 94th minute equaliser, but didn't really matter in the... I mean, Wolves are struggling. They are. They've backed their manager, giving him a new contract, but they are struggling, and yeah, a draw is a draw. They have their first point on the board. Hopefully, for them anyway, they'll be hoping that it will create something now that they can build on, but who knows? They have not started the season very well at all. Sunday, Villa got their first win as well at home to Fulham by 3-1. Not really a lot else to say about that, probably. They needed it. Again, they were towards the bottom half. They have their first win, and now they will hope that again it will kick them in the right direction. And then moving on to Newcastle and Arsenal. I mean, 2 late goals for Arsenal. Newcastle couldn't hold on. I mean, what are we really surprised, to be honest? Like, again, they haven't started well at all. Even Newcastle, yes, they had the Isak issue, but since he's come out, since he's left, they still haven't performed to wonderful standards. So, if anything, I was not surprised to see them throw that away. It was kind of expected. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say, really. Of course, there are talking points, but to be honest, I don't see the point in getting into them, because it's yeah, there's just no point. I see Newcastle throwing that game away no matter what, really. So it's yeah, that's it for me. And then yesterday, the final game, a 1-1 draw between Everton and West Ham, which was Nuno's first game in charge, because on Saturday West Ham announced that they had sacked Graham Potter, and in a few hours later announced the appointment of Nuno. So, interesting. He's just been relieved from Forest, not stayed out of a job too long, gets the West Ham job. It's an interesting one. Obviously, a point in his first game away from home is going to be a very decent start for him, but you can't quite help but think that when a manager takes a job very quickly after being sacked, there's obviously a point to prove there. But you just think that because they are so desperate to prove that they can still do it at a high level in management, mistakes might come, and they might make too many mistakes that ends up costing them. Do I believe Nuno will do that at West Ham? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows right now, but it's a very decent appointment. He's guided Forest to a European spot for the first time in over 30 years, and right now West Ham needed a manager that's going to, first of all, start getting the points so that they are not in a relegation battle and have no fear of relegation. After that, they're going to want someone that can produce to what David Moyes was producing, where they're a very, very difficult team, a very good team, and a team that are fighting for European spots. That's what they would hope. There is a good chance Nuno could do that, but obviously he's going to have to wait until January to make signings. Whether West Ham will back him in January is another thing all entirely, because some teams go all out in the summer and then don't really have any budget to spend in January unless they sell players, which at the minute West Ham are not in a good place to do, because their squad is already weak as it is. They can't afford to lose any more players, and players that are going to get them quite a bit of money, the likes of Bowen, Paquetá, they're valuable to them, and if they lose them, they could be in trouble. So you don't want to sell yourself short, but you want to back the new manager the first chance you get to bring in his own players. But January is always very difficult to do that, so we'll wait and see what happens there. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting watch, really, West Ham right now, to see, especially Nuno, to see what goes on there. Also, let's quickly run over some around the world. Rangers managed to win their first game under Russell Martin. He's finally got his first win as Rangers boss. It's still looking good there, bro. The fact is, this title race is looking like a Hearts and Celtic title race, and Hearts currently lead it. So, is there a possibility that for the first time in God knows how long, there'll be a Scottish Championship winner that is not Celtic or Rangers? Who knows? If Hearts can keep going, it's very, very possible. But, yeah, going into the Championship, on Friday Leicester drew with West Brom. Now, I wasn't lying when I said Leicester were struggling. Because they are. They are struggling. And although, I mean, it came because of an unfortunate Nat Phillips' own goal in the 93rd minute. So they didn't even score the equaliser themselves. But they're 5th. And they are moving further and further away from top spot as we know it. Yes, they're still only 1 point behind Coventry in 2nd. But they're not as strong as they were the last time they were in the Championship. And it's a very odd thing for me, this, because Leicester, they failed in the appointment. So they failed 2 appointments last season. Start of the season, they failed with Steve Cooper. Alright? Like, they must have seen something in it, but the fans were never going to be happy with that. He's a former rival manager. He got Forest back into the Premier League after 23 years. Like, they're never going to like that. Same when Rafa went to Everton. He was Liverpool boss. He won Liverpool's 5th Champions League. Like, they're never going to accept him. Never. The minute it starts going wrong, they're going to scream louder than they would any other manager. So, you know, if you're going to hire a former rivals manager, you have to give them time. And again, Everton with Rafa didn't get that. And then Leicester with Steve Cooper, he didn't get that. Very quickly, the minute it turns sour, they're gone. So it's like, why hire them in the first place? It doesn't make sense, so you've bottled the first appointment. After that, when you've failed the first appointment, the next thing you do is you hire someone that you know for a fact will do well. You go for an experienced manager. What you don't do is you don't then fail the second appointment. What did Leicester do? They failed the second fucking appointment by hiring Rue van Nistelrooy. Someone who hasn't managed in the Premier League. Yes, he managed, what, 2 games, 3 games for Man United, and I think drew 1 and won the other 2, or maybe drawn 2 and won 1. I don't know what it was. But, I mean, well done. Like, particularly, there's a difference between a United team and a Leicester team. Why then go and hire him? Why not go for someone that has a lot more experience? Someone especially with Premier League experience that knows how to deal with relegation battles, that can keep you in the Prem. They didn't do that, and if Rue van Nistelrooy had kept Leicester in the Prem, I think that would have been a bigger achievement and a bigger miracle than Leicester actually winning the fucking Premier League. Because it was never going to happen. No one could see Leicester winning the Prem. But they were still, what, 5,000 to 1. And telling you now, there wasn't even an odds for Leicester to stay up the minute they appointed Rue van Nistelrooy. It was gone. Any odds of them staying up, gone. Completely gone. I think the fans had already... The minute they saw that, the fans probably thought, that's it, we're gone. We'll just enjoy the ride now. And they couldn't even do that really, because their team was absolute shambolic because of the way he set them up. Like, okay, so you failed in 2 appointments. You've got relegated. What do you do then? You then do not fail in the 3rd appointment. 3rd appointment in a year, you don't fail it. And what did they do? They went for the QPR manager. I mean, alright, he did fairly well at QPR, but again, there's a difference between QPR and Leicester. When Leicester were coming down, they're expecting to go straight back up. QPR were not expected to do as well as they did. They were a team that were really struggling. They didn't really see where they could go, and he stabled the ship and got them away from relegation. That is not where Leicester are. That is not where Leicester want to be. Leicester do not want to be teetering around relegation to League One. Like, there is a difference here, and I don't understand anything that has gone on there. I really, really don't. I don't know if the owner's given up. I really don't. I think only Leicester fans could know that, and only people within, like the journalists within Leicester, could know that if the owner has given up. But from an outside point of view, when you're looking at failed appointments, very little investment, selling very key players and then not replacing them, how else does it feel? How are we supposed to feel from the outside point of view other than he's given up? And if you've given up, you have to sell the club. You can't stay in charge of a club that your heart is not in it anymore. It's not fair on the club, it's not fair on the fans, it's not fair on the players, it's not fair on yourself. Putting yourself through immense pressure and abuse from fans. If your heart's not in it, you sell the club. It's the way it should be. And I don't know. I really, really don't know. There's a lot we can go in onto Leicester, and I might make a solo video on that just to go into more detail. I don't know yet, but we'll leave it there for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please have a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.